It is a reminder that inspiration, like flame, needs only the smallest spark to begin something extraordinary. The crackling of wood, the dancing of amber and gold, the way warmth radiates outward and touches everything around it. Fire has always been the place where people gather, where stories are told, where the mind begins to wander into places it rarely visits during the noise of ordinary life. And it is in those quiet, reflective moments that the most powerful thing a human being can experience begins to stir. An idea. Not just any idea, but the kind that shifts something inside you. The kind that makes you sit up a little straighter and feel, even for just a moment, that the world is larger and more full of possibility than it seemed the moment before. Ideas are not born in boardrooms or laboratories alone. They are born in stillness. They are born in the space between one thought and the next, in the pause after a deep breath, in the glow of something warm and constant. That is why this fire burns behind everything you are about to hear. It is not decoration. And that is the energy you are invited to carry with you as you move through the ideas ahead. A thought, a feeling, a quiet whisper that said, what if? What if I tried? What if I built? What if I changed the way things are done? The Wright brothers did not invent flight by accepting that humans were meant to stay on the ground. Marie Curie did not revolutionize science by believing that certain doors were closed to her. Every inventor, every artist, every entrepreneur who has ever left a mark on this world did so because they chose to take that invisible thing and make it real. And the first step in doing that is always the hardest. It is not the technical challenge. It is not the lack of resources. It is the courage to begin. And the warmth you feel right now is proof of what even the tiniest flame can become. The one that will change everything at once. The revolutionary concept that arrives fully formed and ready to be executed. But the truth is, most of the ideas that have shaped the world were small at first. Embarrassingly small. The idea for the internet began as a way to share research between a handful of universities. The idea for the personal computer was dismissed by major corporations as something no ordinary person would ever want or need. The idea for a simple sticky note came from a failed attempt to create a super strong adhesive. Smallness is not a weakness in an idea. It is often its greatest strength. That kind of idea costs nothing and changes everything. They are about people. About the way we treat one another, the way we build communities, the way we choose to show up for those around us. Think about the idea of a neighborhood library, where books are shared freely among strangers. Think about the idea of a community garden, where people who have never met grow food together and share in the harvest. Think about the idea of a simple phone call to someone who has been on your mind. These are ideas too. And they carry a kind of power that no technology can replicate, because they are rooted in something ancient and essential. Human connection. The fire has always been a gathering place. Long before screens and cities and the relentless pace of modern life, people sat around fire together. They shared food and stories and fears and dreams. They reminded each other that they were not alone. What if this could be different? You cannot control when it comes, so you simply wait and hope. But the most creative people in the world will tell you something different. They will tell you that inspiration is not a visitor. It is a practice. It is something you cultivate through daily habits, through curiosity, through the willingness to engage with the world, as though everything in it has something to teach you. Leonardo da Vinci carried a notebook everywhere he went. He sketched birds and rivers and human faces not because he was waiting for inspiration, but because he was actively chasing it. He understood that the act of paying attention is itself a creative act. When you begin to look at your own life with that kind of attention, something shifts. It keeps burning. It keeps giving warmth. And so can you. That who they are today is not the final version of who they can become. Reinvention is not about abandoning everything that came before. It is about taking everything you have learned, everything you have survived, everything you have built, and asking what more is possible. Some of the most remarkable reinventions in history happened later in life. Julia Child did not publish her first cookbook until she was nearly 50 years old. Veera Wang did not design her first dress until she was 40. Colonel Sanders was in his 60s when he began building what would become one of the most recognized food brands in the world. These are not stories about starting over, because the world is always in need of more warmth, and you might be exactly the one who provides it. That is the nature of a loop. It continues. It does not need applause or acknowledgement. It simply does what it was made to do, steadily and without interruption. And that is perhaps the most inspiring idea of all, the idea of consistency. Of showing up not just when you feel motivated, but especially when you do not. Of doing the work quietly, faithfully, and with the understanding that every small act of creation adds to something larger than you can currently see. The ideas you carry with you today, the ones that feel fragile or uncertain, or maybe even a little foolish, deserve that same consistency. They deserve to be returned to, day after day, with patience and care, and the willingness to let them grow at their own pace. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need a perfect plan or a guaranteed outcome.